Hello students, the topic of today's discussion is reflex klystron, which is basically a microwave generator. Now the reflex klystron is a single cavity variable frequency microwave generator of low power and low efficiency. Now this is most widely used in application where variable frequency is desired. Some of the application areas includes radar receivers, local oscillator in microwave receivers, signal source in microwave generator of variable frequency, portable microwave links, and pump oscillator in parametric amplifier. Now this diagram shows you the construction view of this reflex klystron. Here this reflex klystron is consist of an electron gun. This is the electron gun assembly, a filament surrounded by cathode, and a focusing electrode at cathode potential, as we can see in this figure. The electron beam is accelerated toward anode cavity. This is the anode cavity. At positive potential. This is the anode cavity which is at positive potential. After passing the gap in the cavity, the electrons travel toward repeller electrode. This is the repeller electrode which is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. This is the negative terminal. And this potential is termed as VR. The electron never reach the repeller. The electrons which are coming from this side towards this side, they are never able to reach to the repeller because of the negative field, because this is connected to the negative terminal, so there will be a negative field here and are returned back toward the gap. The electrons which are coming toward this side, because of this negative field, they are returned back. Under suitable condition, the electrons give more energy to the gap than they took from the gap on their forward journey, because they are going to be accelerated in their forward journey, so they will take energy from the gap, but during their return journey they are going to be retarded, so we can take energy from them. And under suitable condition, the electrons give more energy to the gap than they took from the gap on their forward journey, and oscillations are sustained. So this is the construction part of the reflex klystron. This is the construction detail of this tube. Now we are going to see how this is going to work, how this is going to operate. Now here also it is assumed that oscillations are set up in the tube initially due to noise or switching transients, and these are sustained by device operation. Now here we are assuming that there are some oscillations which are already present in this setup due to, it may be due to noise or it may be due to the switching transients. So our aim is to sustain these oscillation with this particular device. The RF voltage produced across the gap by the cavity oscillations act on electron beam to cause velocity modulation. Here also we are having velocity modulation as we have there in two cavity Klystron amplifier, but in that case we are applying RF signal as an input signal, but here that RF signal is due to the oscillations which are there due to noise or transients, and those oscillations, cavity oscillations, act on electron beam to cause the velocity modulation. That RF signal will be applying on the electrons, and due to that RF signal those electrons will show velocity modulation. Now here also we are having three different electrons: the reference electron, the late electron, and the early electron. The reference electron passes through the gap when gap voltage is 0 and is going negative, means at this point, this is the reference electron, and this electron is passing the voltage at this point. Here the voltage is 0 at this point, at this point, at this point, at this point, this. So these are the points where our this reference electron is passing and the voltage here is 0 and going negative. Now this voltage is going negative. So this is the point of for the reference electron. Now this is pass unaffected by the gap voltage because the gap voltage here is 0. So the electron which is passing at this point of time, the velocity of that electron will remain unaffected, and this is this particular electron ER. Now this electron move towards repeller and get reflected. As we see in this electron will move towards this, and this will be reflected by this negative field here. It will not reach to the repeller electrode. Now this electron will return and passes through the gap for the second time. When this electron is not reaching up to this point, this repeller electrode, this is going back toward this gap, and this will pass this for the second time, once in its forward journey, and second when it is returning towards this gap. So this is the reference electron. Again we are having another electron which is early electron, which passes through the gap before ER, means it is passing the gap before the reference electron. So if we see here, before this was the case, this was the case for the early electron, this EE is early electron, this is passing this gap before this reference electron, and at this point of time we see the voltage across the gap is having maximum value. This is the peak maximum. So this experiences maximum positive voltage across gap and is accelerated. Now because we are having the maximum value here, so it is going to velocity modulate the electron which is generated by the electron gun and passing this gap, So the velocity of this electron which has encountered the maximum positive field is accelerated due to this. it moves with greater velocity and penetrate deep into the repeller space. Now, because this electron, early electron, is having increased velocity, so this will move deeper into the repeller space towards this repeller electron, but this electron also will never reach to the repeller electron, although it will goes deep into the repeller space. The return time is more as the penetration is deep. Now, as we have seen, because this electron is having more velocity, so this electron move towards that repeller space more deeply, and because of this deep penetration, the time it will take to return to the gap will be more. So the early electron and the reference electron appear at a gap for second time at same time. Now this reference electron, which is traveling with same velocity, or we can say there was no increase or decrease in the velocity of this electron, and the second electron, which is early electron, it is having higher speed than this electron, reference electron, and this electron is deep penetrated into the repeller space. But because of varying velocity of these two different electrons, they will appear at this gap for the second time at same time. So now we will see what will happen to the third electron, that is the late electron, which has passed this gap at this point where the voltage is minimum. So this is late electron which passes gap later than the reference electron, and this electron experiences maximum negative voltage and move with retarding velocity. Now because this electron has encountered the negative voltage, so the velocity of this electron will decrease, and that velocity will be less than the reference electron. So this electron, early electron, is traveling with higher speed. This electron or reference electron is traveling with same speed, and this late electron, because of this point of interaction, this is traveling with least speed. So return time is shorter as penetration is less and catches up the reference and early electron, forming a bunch. Now if we see in this cavity, we have considered three different electrons. Early electron, which is traveling with higher speed, so it will penetrate deep into the repeller space. Another electron is reference electron, which is traveling with same initial velocity, so the penetration depth of this will be lesser than the early electron. And the third electron is late electron, which is traveling with the least speed as compared to the other two, so the penetration of this late electron into the repeller space will be very less. So in this case we are having three different electrons, and those three electrons are having different velocities, and due to their different velocities, the penetration length or penetration depth will be different for each electron. So during the return journey, they will meet here in this gap and they will form a bunch. Now bunches occur only once per cycle around reference electron. That was also the case with two cavity Klystron amplifier, and these bunches transfer maximum energy to the gap to get sustained oscillations. Here in this diagram we see this was the reference electron, this was the early electron, this is the late electron. They are traveling with different speed and they are covering different distance, because depth of penetration in repeller space is different for these three electrons, but they are going to form a bunch at this point of time, and this bunch occurs once per cycle. Time taken by the electron to travel into the repeller space and back to the gap, this is the transit time, must have optimum value. So this time should be maximum time. Most optimum departure time is obviously centered onto ER, which is at 180 degree point of sine wave voltage across resonator gap. Now here we can see what is the most suitable time so that these bunch can deliver maximum energy to the space, that is at this positive maxima. So cavity resonators spend energy in accelerating the electron and gain energy in retarding them. The space is going to deliver its energy in accelerating the electron, but when it come back to the second time, then they will take energy from those electrons. As there are as many retarded electrons as accelerated, the total energy outlay is nil. Means the number of electrons which were accelerated in their forward journey or deaccelerated on their forward journey, the number of those electrons and the electrons which are coming back to the in their back journey, they are same, so the total energy is nil. Total energy outlay is nil. So best possible time for electrons to return to the gap is at time at which the voltage then existing across the gap will apply maximum retardation to them. So it means when we see what may be the suitable time for these electrons to reach to the gap, so that time will be at which we are having maximum voltage, and that maximum voltage will help in giving maximum retarding force to those electron bunch. So that suitable time is this. At this time we are going to apply the maximum retardation force to these electron bunch. This causes electron to fall through the maximum negative voltage between gap grids, thus giving up maximum amount of energy to the gap. And because they are retarded at this particular maximum energy, by maximum force we are going to retard them, so they will give their energy, maximum energy to the space. So thus the best time for the electron to return to the gap is at the 90 degree point of sine wave gap voltage. So return electrons after 1 3/4 cycle, 2 3/4 cycle, 3 3/4 cycle, etc. satisfy our above requirement. Because here we see this is the one cycle from this point to this point, and to apply maximum retardation energy, that suitable time is somehow here, this point, and this is 3/4. If I start from this point to this point, then this time, total time is one cycle, this complete cycle, and 3/4 of the second cycle. So the maximum suitable time is therefore one full cycle and 3/4 of the second cycle. Similarly, 2 full cycle and 3/4 of the third cycle, like this. So this is the most suitable time for the retarding. So in general, optimum transit time should be T, capital T transit time, that is equals to n plus 3/4, where n in any integer. So this is the best suitable transit time for the electrons. This depends upon repeller and the anode voltage. So this is this returning time or optimum transit time, that will be a function of repeller and the anode voltages. So this is the working and operation of our two cavity Klystron, reflex Klystron as an oscillator, and the efficiency of this Klystron is, theoretically it is nearly about 23%, and the practical value of this is around 20%. Also, in performance characteristics of this reflex Klystron, the frequency range is 4 to 200 gigahertz. Output power is 1 milliwatt to 2.5 watt. Tuning range 5 gigahertz at 2 watts to 30 gigahertz at 10 milliwatt. Now we are going to see the operating characteristics of this reflex Klystron. This can be seen in this graph. Here the horizontal axis is showing the anode voltage, and this vertical axis is showing you the repeller voltage. The graph between these two give you the characteristics of this Klystron. So as we know, the oscillations can be obtained only for specific combination of anode and repeller voltage that is given by a favorable transit time. We have discussed T equals to n plus 3/4. Now in this graph, the shaded area show possible oscillation combination, and the heavy lines show the optimum combination. Now each value of this n equals to maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 is said to correspond to a different mode for the reflex Klystron oscillator. The earlier the mode, the larger the output power, which is obvious an advantage. This is, if I put n equals to 1, then the optimum transit time is T equals to n plus 3/4, and that will be T equals to 1 3/4. When I put n equals to 2, the transit time will be, optimum transit time will be this, and for 3 and 4. So the earlier the mode, the larger the output power. If you can see here, the output power is more for this as compared to other. Obviously this is an advantage, but the voltage required are also higher, as we can see from this. For this particular mode, the voltage required, as we can see from this horizontal axis, the voltage, anode voltage required will be very high, and also the repeller voltage required will be also very high, which leads to insulation problem and possibilities of lower efficiencies. So because we are having more repeller voltage required, more anode voltage required, so there might be problems of insulation, and also there are possibilities of lesser efficiency. As a result of this, the modes corresponding to n equals to 2 or n equals to 3, this is the mode corresponding to n equals to 2, and this is the mode corresponding to n equals to 3. So these modes are widely used, because here we can see in comparison to this, the repeller voltage required by this mode and this mode is comparatively less as compared to this particular mode, and that is why these two modes corresponding to n equals to 2 and corresponding to n equals to 3 are most widely used. Now in this particular graph we are seeing the power output. This is the power output and the frequency characteristics. Now in this graph, the mode curve and the frequency characteristics, these can be seen. This is the frequency characteristics and these are the mode curves. The frequency of resonance of cavity decide the frequency of oscillation. Variation of repeller voltage slightly changes the frequency. If you can see, this is the repeller voltage, this curve, and these are the corresponding frequencies in gigahertz. So the variation or repeller voltage, if you vary this repeller voltage slightly, there will be a change in the frequency. We say here it is, the value is 100 megawatt. Corresponding to this is the frequency, and if we change slightly this repeller voltage, maybe below 100 or above 100, we can see there is a, with slight change in the power, we will see there is a change in the frequency. From either, if we increase above 100, this will increase, and if we decrease the repeller, then it will decrease. This amount to electronic tuning of reflex klystron, and this is also depicted in figure, this figure. This make it possible to use reflex klystron as a voltage tuned oscillator or frequency modulated oscillations. Here also we see for n equals to 1, this is the mode area. This is for n equals to 2, for n equals to 3, at as a function of repeller voltage, the output power is shown by these lobes. These are the lobes. So this is all about our reflex klystron, its construction, its working, its application, its voltage characteristics, and power output and frequency characteristics. Thank you. Have a very nice day.